What is going on, guys? My name's Tom, and if you guys don't already know me, I run a company called Systemized Scaling, where we help info product businesses, coaches, consultants at the 20 to 80k a month mark scale to 100k a month and beyond. We do this by optimizing their sales process, building out their sales team, and making sure they have the foundations to scale to 7 figures. In this video, what I'm going to be going over is the 7-figure appointment setting framework that I've learned from multiple 7-figure businesses that I use to actually implement into my clients' businesses to allow them to actually scale to consistent 100k months. Let's get cracking. So you guys are probably thinking, what on earth is this picture? Why have I got a picture of 2 guys in latex suits looking pretty suspect? The reason why I've got this up is because I want to display the relationship of a closer and a setter. A lot of people think appointment setters aren't that important, closers are the most important, that's who gets the cash. But this couldn't be further from the truth. In a 7-figure business, the relationship between a setter and a closer should be like Batman and Robin. Batman, a lot of the time, he's nothing without Robin. Robin is absolutely nothing without Batman. Robin's helping Batman out all the time, getting him out of sticky situations, laying him up. The setter should be helping out the closer on a regular basis, making sure these leads are qualified, they know about the problem they have, they know about the solution you offer, okay? Not just throwing them nothing, throwing them dead leads, people who don't even know why they're jumping on the call. If your setters and closers have this relationship, then you are going to print so much money. And I can't stress this enough. This is the foundations of a great sales team. So let's get into it. This is the framework and the flow of an average DM appointment setting process. Usually leads come from paid ads, opt-in or YouTube, organic, whatever. New lead, and they just go straight to a booked call. The appointment setter wants to rush it as much as possible. These booked calls usually come out as unqualified, unaware. They have low intention. Sometimes they don't even know why they're on the call. Okay, what that does, that leads to live calls that reschedule due to lack of education. The closer needs to reschedule them, send them more assets for them to actually get clued up on the solution that you offer. DQ'd, a lot of people actually aren't fit for the call. They don't have the money, so they're getting disqualified, okay? And sometimes it's a 2+ call close rate, which is just not optimal. The mindset of the appointment setters in this process, they just want to book as many calls as possible. They don't care about the quality. They're just there to book calls and that's it. Second bit, they just want to throw shit at the wall. They've got that mentality. As many calls as possible to hopefully close some. They don't want to focus on the quality. This means that there's a lack of trust built with the prospect. The appointment setter isn't focusing on building trust, nurturing the prospect. Therefore, they're giving off stinky commission breath, where it's just obvious that they're trying to get him on a call. It's obvious that the appointment setter is just trying to sell them. Last one is just there's a lack of communication with the closer. Like I said in the previous slide, it's so important to have good communication, to have that good synergy. So this appointment setting process, they just have a lack of communication. They don't have that relationship. This whole process, it's not effectively building trust. And in this market, this day and age, there's a massive gap between people trusting people. Needs to be more trust in this industry. So that's why we want to focus on a 7-figure appointment setting process. What does that look like? I'll go through it now. This is a bit more in depth. The 7-figure appointment setting process essentially looks like this. Paid ads, opt-in or YouTube to get the leads in, and then you get a new lead. This new lead is getting nurtured. First thing that's happening is they're getting nurtured. Okay, this is building up the trust. This is making sure that they're aware of their problem and the solution that they're being offered. Okay, and how they're being nurtured. Objection handling, sales assets. Super important. I've covered it in my previous videos. Super important to handle objections with your content, with your organic, so you can send it to your prospects during the appointment setting process. So what you're doing is as they're asking questions about things that they're not sure about, objections, you're sending them these sales assets. You're sending them these objection handling YouTube videos, so they can just handle the objections before they get on the sales calls. This is how you're going to nurture them more and get them ready for the call. Also, authenticity-based communication is super important. And what I mean by this is just being genuine, right? Don't try to sell them, just be genuine. And don't try to lie to anyone. Just be trustworthy. You want to be normal. You want to just have a genuine conversation. Not try to be someone you're not. Not try to have some process that is just trying to deceive someone. Authenticity-based communication and objection handling sales asset is the first step to actually nurture these prospects. Next one is the intent to show. A lot of coaching companies struggle with show rates. Low show rates, which is leaving them tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of cash on the table every single month. So what we want to make sure is these people are actually going to show. How do you do this? There's a number of different ways you can do this. Of course, these objection handling sales assets, authenticity-based communication is going to help. But how I do this is a closer handoff. A lot of people don't know who they're speaking to. They ideally want to speak to the influencer or the person doing the marketing, but this is not always the case. This is not always going to happen, right? It's not always that realistic. So what you want to do is you want to build the urgency. You want to build up the value of speaking to the closer. Who are they speaking to? It depends. You can do this a few different ways. You can shoot a short interview with your closer, going over, how you met with each other, what relationship you have with the closer, why he's qualified or she's qualified to actually speak to prospects. So it builds up the urgency, it builds up the excitement to even show up to that call. Or the way that I did this with the last company I worked with, it was a high ticket sales coaching company and I was a high ticket closer. We did a testimonial video with me and how I got into high ticket closing. So it built up my authority and why I'm qualified to speak to these people. So if you send this to the prospects before they jump on the call, it's going to make them more likely to actually show to the call. Qualified. You want to make sure these leads are qualified. No point jumping on calls with people who don't have any money, people who aren't even aware. So you've got to make sure these are qualified. So, of course, there's going to be financial qualification processes in the booking form, but you want to have a financial qualification process that the appointment setter goes through. Vaguely going over this, I'd say you want to first gauge their job, their income, what they say. You don't even need to directly financially qualify sometimes because sometimes it gives off a bit of sales resistance. First of all, you want to gauge what job they're in. Do they have a decent job? Do they have a decent salary? If they're making a decent amount, maybe like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6K a month, you don't need to directly financially qualify them. You can have a gauge and see, okay, likely they probably have some money saved up. If you're unsure, if you're not really sure if someone has the money and they keep on asking about the price, you want to state vaguely what the investment is. Just to be completely transparent, it's a mid 4-figure investment, or our products range from X to X. Is this something that if it was a good fit, you'd be able to potentially invest in yourself with? You don't want to share the full price, but you want to give them a bit of an idea so they're not just jumping on the call blindly. Okay, that's worst case scenario if you're really unsure if they are going to be able to afford it. Next bit, booked call. If you do all of these, you're going to have qualified leads show up to your call. They're going to be pre-handled, meaning it's going to be less work for the closer. Usually 1 call closes instead of 2 to 3 call closes. They're going to be product aware. They're going to know about the solution that you have for them, and they're going to have high intention. If you're preparing them, if you're nurturing them, you're saving so much time and you're getting so much more money, reducing your cost per acquisition. Next one, you want to make sure that the show rate is so dialed in. You don't just want to rely on the closer handoff because this is not enough, I'll be honest. You want to make sure that they're showing up to the call. And how do you do this? Of course, you do want to do your reminders. First thing is the manual reminders with the closer. In order to increase show rates, what I've seen in other 7-figure businesses and what I've implemented in businesses that I've worked alongside is closer confirmations. How can you do this? All right, you want to get the phone number of the lead who's booked in. They booked in for a call, and you want to just drop them a quick WhatsApp voice note or message. Voice note's better, just going over who you are. You've seen they've booked in for a call, and you're excited to see what they can actually go over and if we can help. Sometimes you can go over exactly what you're going to go through. Let's say the prospect he's got a social media marketing agency and you can relate. You say, hey, prospect, I saw you booked in for a call on my calendar. I also saw your social media marketer. Worked with quite a lot of people in the marketing agency space, so looking forward to see what I can do to help. I've got a few things planned. Just checking you're all set for the call tomorrow. ? What that's going to do, it's going to pique their interest, make them think, oh, they've got something prepared for me. Oh, they've actually worked with people like me before. Let's see what happens. So it makes people more likely to show because they think, wow, I'm going to get more value on this call. That's the manual one. With the automated, this is something we implement with our clients' businesses, is SMS and email reminders. Automated reminders, but it's really important that you only do a certain amount of reminders because too many pisses people off, too little, there's no point. So automated email and SMS reminders, just confirming that they're showing up to the call. Hey, I know you've got a call booked in for X time tomorrow, just checking you're all good for our call tomorrow, ? Just getting a tiny bit more confirmation if they're showing up to the call. And then you get a live call. These live calls are 10 times better than this process, 10 times better, because people actually think through the appointment setting process that you actually care. know that you're actually genuine. The amount of people that I've seen have appointment setting processes that are really shit and people just know they're trying to sell them is ludicrous. It's crazy. What this appointment setting process does, it builds trust, and trust, like I said, in this market lacks. So it's super important to build that trust. You know, focus on being genuine, authentic. It pushes leads through the funnel that are the right type of leads. You don't want shitty leads going through the funnel, right? It pre-sells and it actually handles objections before the sales calls, and it increases the intent to show up, meaning that you've just got a lot more money on the table every single month. Let's say you increase your show rate by 20%. That's 20% more deals you're getting through every single month, just through one metric, let alone the authenticity, let alone the close rate, whatever. Now, in terms of training these appointment setters to do this, a lot of people focus on just technical side of things, but this type of appointment setting process that we use at Systemized Scaling requires mindset training. Not just the technical side, which we do focus on the technical side of things, but it requires the mindset training of an effective setter. What an effective setter looks like. What do they act like? You know, what is their mindset? What is their approach? And usually how I've done this in the past and how I've seen this work is 3 training calls a week. 3+. Usually reviewing a conversation with all the setters on the team and doing a live review of a conversation, going through what they could do better, what they did pretty well, and focusing on what the next focus is in terms of improvement. Now, let me give you an example of a few objection handling assets. Here's a few examples of different YouTube channels I've seen. Objection handling assets are really there to pre-handle objections. So what you want to do is you want to record YouTube videos based on the objections you're getting on your sales calls. So for example, a different company I've worked with in the past, Club Closer, why guaranteed placement in high ticket closing are bullshit. A lot of people came to calls saying that they want guaranteed placement. You know, why don't you offer guaranteed placement? Now, I came to the business owner saying this is showing up quite a lot. So what we need to do is implement a video training on YouTube going through why guaranteed placements are bullshit. You know, why they don't actually work and they're not actually real. So what would happen is leads would message saying, oh, do you offer guaranteed placement? And we just send them this video. Now, same with Brian Moncada. You know, how much do I need to spend on ads? I'm pretty sure a lot of people on their sales calls would say, oh, but I don't want to spend loads. I don't want to spend thousands of thousands a month on ads. Okay, he's just sending this video. Why you should run YouTube ads in 2024. You know, why his business model, why the thing he sells is the best thing to sell, essentially. Best way to get SMMA clients. SMMA is the best thing. It's just selling the business model. This stops people come to the calls and say, I want to do this thing. I want to do a different thing. Actually educating on what is remote high ticket sales. So make sure people don't show to the sales call thinking, what is high ticket sales? But guys, essentially, this is it. This is the appointment setting process that we use at Systemized Scaling. We implement into businesses to allow them to actually generate a ton more cash, scale to 7 figures, 100K months. This is the actual foundations that allow you to do this. This is one piece of the puzzle. So if you run a coaching business, a consulting business, an education business, and want me and my team to implement this appointment setting process and build up your sales process, hire sales reps and closers and setters into your sales team to allow you to scale to 100K months, then book in a call below in the description and we can see if we can actually help. I'll run a sales audit on your company and see if we can help. Have a beautiful day, guys, and bosh.